Leesburg. My name is Renee. We're so glad you joined us today. Our theme for 2024 is A Grand Rising. The month, our focus is Power to the People. Today's message is Power to Create a World That Works for Everyone, which will be given by our wonderful Reverend Charlene Banks. It's always very good when she does it, and others as well, but we are so glad that you joined us today. Please feel free to add to the chat or in the comments any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like to have included later in the service when we provide our community spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. We invite you to get comfortable and relax into this moment as we will officially begin our service with this welcoming video.
Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
Yes. Now here's our Reverend Charlene Banks with today's meditation.
Thank you, Renee. So wonderful to have your face in our welcoming section. It's so wonderful. Our spiritual community is so amazing. And now it is time for our meditation, as Renee B. said. And we'll start with some music from Dan. Dan from the Soul Pajamas, his beautiful guitar music in the background, as we simply just rest and relax. My favorite way to breathe is 4 in and 6 out. So breathing in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do that again. In, out. In, out. We're feeling a little more settled. We've moved our brain from the busyness of whatever we had to do to get here this morning. And we're in a more receptive, thoughtful mode of being. And still doing that type of breathing if you would like. As we begin to bring our awareness into the source of the breath. What is breathing? Who is breathing? There is a body. What is behind the body? Feel the silence. Continuing to breathe, focusing on our breath. Any thoughts that arise? Whose thoughts are those? Who's thinking? There is a thought. Back to the breath. There is something that is bigger than we are, that is breathing us. It is the beginning and the end. It is life itself. There's a sound that the universe makes. In that sound is the beginning, the middle, and the end. That sound is Feel free to say this with me, and you can unmute your mic if you'd like. And one more time, together. We bring our attention back into this room, knowing that we have vibrated at the frequency of the divine itself, and we are co-creating this world together. Peace and blessings. And it is time for Leah.
Good morning. This is a song I know we've sung together a number of times. It is inspired by the poetry of Amanda Gorman. And I'm just going to sing them one melody. And when it becomes familiar, I hope you'll sing with me. There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it, to see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill. Together we will. There is always a light. We are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it, to see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill. Together we will. There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it, to see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill. Together we will. We can see the light and be the light. We'll climb this hill. Together we will be the light.
That was very, very good. Oh man, thank you so much. It was very calming, and I could have stayed there in that song for a while. Thank you, Leah. Oh, well, this is the last week of October. And curiously enough, the title of the talk today, The Power to Create a World That Works for Everyone. A world that works for the power. Do we have the power to do that? The monthly theme is Power to the People. And as you remember, the whole month we've been talking about power to the people. You know where we started in the first week. It was that power begins within us. We do our inner work. We create a relationship with our inner power first. And we call that clean power because it's the power that has no hidden agenda. It's the power that allows us to see other people as sovereign beings as well, and it allows us to listen, seek first to understand. And so it helps us to forgive and heal anything, any relationship to power that was not aligned with the highest intentions for all mankind, humankind, beings. Any experience we had with power may be the kind that was presented to us from a bully on the playground, to where we thought we had to wield that type of power in order to gain control over our lives. We learn to make friends with that, to forgive the bully on the playground, even if the bully on the playground is right in here. How many of us had people living rent-free in our heads, scolding us and judging us, and there's nobody else in the room, but they're still talking? We talked about that our first week together on this topic. And then we asked ourselves to release our hidden agendas, to start to express our power with integrity, authenticity, and showing up being unapologetically ourselves. There's something we have to give this world, and we're not going to hide it under the bushel. No. Oh, to make who feel better? Trust me, no matter how small we make ourselves, there are people who will still request for us to be a bit smaller so they can still shine. So we're not going to play that game. Now, we express our power. We talked about it with integrity and authenticity. And then we drew ourselves to each other. I mentioned how we are that net. We are a net of connectivity. In this group, CSL Leesburg, part of a larger net called Centers for Spiritual Living, the national organization, where we see each other, we love each other for who we are, warts and all, and we thrive as a community to make this world a better place. So this allows each person to come in with our authentic power. We no longer revel in other people's shortcomings. No. And when we see what they're great at, we celebrate them. Remember, we were talking about look at God as it shows up as each and every one of you. And today, we're going to take this community of like-minded, supportive people, and we're going to turn it toward being for the greater good of all mankind, humankind, instead of being against all the things that we don't like. Now you can hear it. What's the difference between being for something and being against something? We know that when we take these first few classes in Center for Spiritual Living, we find that we get what we're interested in. The universe always says yes, first of all. And so if I'm interested in poverty, I get a yes, you will be more poor. And I would never purposely be interested in poverty. I'm not crazy. I'm not like, you know what I want is a little more poverty. No. Usually that looks like, ooh, I hope I can pay the bills. I hope I don't lose that contract. I hope I don't. And instead of looking toward what I do want, I find myself really hoping I don't get what I don't want. But the universe doesn't know that I don't want it. It just says, oh, you seem to be interested in lack. I'll give you more of that. The universe gives you what you're interested in. Wherever your energy is, wherever your attention is, that's where your energy goes, and the universe follows the energy. It's just laws of physics. So when I'm interested in the negative, I get more negative. It's like a magnifying glass. But good thing that the same rule applies to the positive. When I'm interested in what I do want, then all I can see, all of a sudden, all these things I do want keep showing up. I'm predisposed to notice what I do want because that's where my attention lies. This is always evident in each of our lives, whether we like it or not. And I love teaching the new classes, the introduction to this teaching to people who didn't really realize. They're like, oh, I guess I have been. I guess I am a co-creator. I guess I could start talking about what I do want instead of getting a lot of negative attention over, oh, poor me, and everybody gathers around and reinforces that poor me. I could start talking about what I do want. And then I'm going to start experiencing more of that. And it's always fun to watch the newbies. The newbies who come, they're like, oh my God, I got the job. They did all the groundwork. They're not just sitting. Renee, I see you. Yes. She's one of the ones. She was not just sitting on the couch. Okay, job, come knock on my door. No, she was doing the work anyway. But then what she did was she said, yes, I'm worth it. Yes, I'm good enough. Why not me? And then the job found her. And they were like, oh my God, you would be perfect. And then I think, Renee, you, not to tell all your business, but I remember you were like, oh, and this salary actually works for me, which was way more than you might have been open to accepting before. But now it's like, why not me? And they were like, actually, you're right. That is in line with, she did some research. That is in line with what the other people in this position make. Boom, done. It's all in our power. We just sometimes don't know it because we're so distracted by, oh, I hope I don't get that thing. The universe just says, oh, you're interested in that thing? Let me get it closer to you. It's insane. So it kind of isn't. It's just laws. And so that's what's really fun. Now let me tell you what Ernest Holmes said on his famous Sermon by the Sea. He had a famous sermon by the sea, and he said, we must be for something and against nothing. For something and against nothing. Which means stand in your authentic power, stand for truth, allow ourselves to be so strongly for principle, the highest and best for all involved, what we do want, that we are clear, but we're also kind. We're unmoved, but we're also sensitive to others. There's a way to be soft in the front and hard in the back. Think about it. Where the answer is no, but I'm not going to beat you down with a no. I'm just going to be like, yeah, unfortunately, I don't do blah, 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 and that's your no. You don't have to be mean with it. So standing in our truth, standing in our power, focusing on what we do want, regardless of what the world looks like around us. How do you do that? You got to meditate. You got to close your eyes and shut out the external world. That external world, hate to break it to you, is the result of people looking really closely at what they don't want. It's a congealed agreement. It's like all these ideas hardened into experience because we have a group obsession with what we don't want. I'll say it, but I'm not, listen, this talk is about an election. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm just going to tell you that your vote matters in many different ways, in many different scenarios. We know that the vote matters. I just want to say that when everybody is so enamored with a spectacle, I know in 2016 it was such a spectacle, it became like binge watching the train wreck. Guess what? You do that, you're paying attention to the train wreck. And what you pay attention to, you end up manifesting. And then we all know what happened. Not saying any names, not pointing anybody out, but you know what I'm talking about. We cannot afford to pay attention to the silliness, the dumb stuff. What we need to pay attention to is what we do want. We need to be for something. Now, that doesn't mean that your power goes away. This is where your power shines. The power of the people. We talk about, in fact, CSL, the Global Home Office, talks about our vision. It's stated this way. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. And it goes on to say, hold on, I have the rest of it printed out. Physical piece of paper. What? Okay. We envision all people, all things, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We see a world in which every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. Unity with God. And if you want to change that, you could say, what if the people don't call it God? Fine. Unity with their higher power and connection with each other. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. We envision a world that works for everyone. So now let's talk about using that vote, that power, your voice in an election. So really, we don't tell you who to vote for. We're not allowed to anyway. As a nonprofit 501c3 organization, we're not allowed to get behind a particular candidate. But I will say, vote your conscience. What do we want? We want to be for something and against nothing. And we only vote for one person. We don't vote against another person, right? We've got to focus on what is in alignment with our highest principles. So here's a little paragraph from Susie Kassem, which I guess it's in a book called Rise Up and Salute the Sun. Listen to this. Pick a leader who will make their citizens proud, one who will stir the hearts of the people so that the sons and daughters of a nation strive to emulate their leader's greatness. Only then will a nation be truly great, when a leader inspires and produces citizens worthy of becoming future leaders, honorable decision makers, and peacemakers. And in these times, a great leader must be extremely brave. Their leadership must be steered only by their conscience, not by a bribe. Interesting. Interesting. And so what about those who say, oh, you know, I'm just one person. I can't make a difference. It's already decided. I'm in one of those states that they're just going to vote. They're just going to do what they do. Well, we're going to need to take a conscious, intentional approach that extends beyond this. Extends beyond, I'm just one person. I don't know if this vote matters. We got to move past watching and get into doing. And that means stepping into our values. Not just having values and just living everyday life as if they're not consequential, but really having values and then moving in a way that is in harmony with that. Side note, I remember taking a class, my first class at a Center for Spiritual Living, and I'll never forget this. They said, list all the things that you hold dear, like your principles, your priorities. List the things that you are pretty much, that you stand for. And of course I listed, I remember I was 30, this was pre-Blake. I was like 30, maybe 29, 30. And I was listing, it's important to work out. It's important to, be in contact with my family. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. And I listed all the high things that these are my values. And then on the next page, how do you spend most of your time? Literally, look back in the last week and just write down all the things you do. And I didn't even know that we were going to be connecting these. I was that new to this. This next question was, all right, compare all your values to the list of the ways you spend your day. Do they match? Not at all. Not at all. Especially at the time I was struggling with, you all know I come from an eating disorder background. Every moment of my life was planning the next binge and figuring out where I would purge. That's my whole life at the time. So I was like, hold up. My behavior doesn't match my stated values. No wonder in my own body I feel like a fraud. I feel like a fraud because the way I think I should be living, the things that I value don't show up in my everyday life. Not at all. I mean, I'd like them to, but if we're being honest, and of course the third page was, well, if you reverse engineer what you do every day, what are your values? Oh no, oh gosh. Now I'm that girl that the only thing I care about is if somebody thinks I'm cute, if somebody thinks I'm skinny. That's all I care about. Clearly, look at how I act. And it was a come to Jesus moment, although that's not what they called it. And so I ask you about your integrity. Integrity means, do you behave the way you profess to believe? If not, how can you change it? Now, we don't turn around and use that to beat ourselves up. We don't just turn that whole piece of paper into a bat and smack ourselves with it. Because how's that helping anybody? Now is when a dose of compassion toward ourselves comes in. This is just a private, nobody else needs to know any of this, right? It's ourselves looking at ourselves, asking ourselves, I can make a difference, not only in my life, well, that'll be the plan, and I can also do it if and I'm this way, if I'm not helping somebody else through doing something, then I'm not as interested in it. You could turn that around and make it work for you. Now, I did realize on this third sheet of paper, I really care what people think. All right, great, good. Now, instead of making that thing what they think about me, maybe I'm meant to be a teacher. Maybe I'm meant to find something out and share it with the rest of the world. Maybe I'm meant to take the way I see things and just start sharing them. Maybe that's what, because I seem to care about people. I totally want to be engaged with how they see the world. Maybe it's just misguided. Huh. Definitely true, because as I went to those 12-step programs, and it was circles of girls that were just like me and all different sizes, shapes, and ethnicities, we figured out together what we're meant to do. And I kept hearing, gosh, Charlene, the way you phrase that, it really hit me. Now I'm going to do, and I was like, oh, so I can help other people. And I feel better if I'm actually helping other people. If I just did stuff for me, I'd probably sit on the couch and just have popcorn, possibly some chips, and a bonbon or two. But if I'm doing it for you, oh my gosh, I've got to do research, I've got to practice, I've got to witness it, I've got to take notes because I got to tell you how it worked out. That has been my hack, the secret hack for the rest of my years. Now I'm a good 30 years beyond that. And it's true. Every time, if I wanted to work out, I would be an instructor. I just got a Zumba thing and started teaching people how to do Zumba. I mean, it's not enough that I do it. I want you to do it too. I want to show you. It's fun if we all do it. And then teaching everybody from the homeschoolers to the IT groups of grown people or college people. It's so much fun if you share what you've got. It's somehow amazing. And it's not even fun if you have it and you're hoarding it. It's no fun at all. But if you have it and you share it, wow, look at us. And so that's what we're talking about. We have the power to influence change. All we have to do is engage, engage, engage. Now, when it comes to elections, we engage. What we'll do, engage with our elected officials when it's not an election year. And we make sure that our voices are heard as a group, as a coalition. We get together and decide if everything's working out the way we think it should work out. Somehow we removed the idea that we don't make a difference. Somehow we've moved from a sense of complacency or lack of action, 'cause it's just me, how much of a difference could I make? We now realize, wow, I could make a big difference. There's a story that supports this, and I'm not sure, this story is directly out of our outline, so I'm not sure if this is a biographical story or if it's a metaphorical story, but I love the story. Listen to this story about Maya. So, in the bustling town of Everville, there lived a young woman named Maya. She had grown up hearing stories from her grandparents about the struggles and sacrifices made to secure the right to vote. Their words had imprinted upon her a deep appreciation for the value of this civic duty. Now, as the election day approached, Maya noticed, there's a prevailing sense of apathy among her peers. Many believed that their single vote wouldn't matter, but she knew better. Determined to make a difference, she engaged in conversations, urging her friends to cast their ballots. On the day of the election, it rained heavily, but Maya remained undeterred. She donned her raincoat and headed to the polling station. There, she encountered a senior citizen, Mr. Jenkins, who hesitated to vote, feeling his voice had long lost significance. Maya listened intently to his concerns. She shared her grandmother's stories, inspired him, right? He decided to vote, acknowledging that yes, every vote does count. As the results were announced, it turned out to be a very close contest, with several races determined by a mere handful of votes. Maya's relentless efforts, along with Mr. Jenkins' vote, had influenced the outcome, bringing about positive changes in their community. Her story spread like wildfire. It ignited a passion for voting among her generation. They realized that exercising the right to vote wasn't just a privilege, but a responsibility to shape the future that they wanted. So Maya's action, what did it do? It had sown seeds of an informed and active electorate, providing that a single vote could be the spark that ignites the wave of change. From that day on, the citizens of Everville vowed to never take their right to vote for granted. Now, again, not sure if it's actually biographical. I don't even care. I love that this young person said, "Oh no, y'all don't get it. Our predecessors fought, some died, for the right to vote. How dare we sit on our couches and just say, it's not gonna make a difference." Even in where I live, it's typically blue or whatever. I wasn't supposed to say it. I think we're clear, but it's typically blue. So I took my son by the ear down to the polling station. I didn't tell him who to vote for. I don't go that far, but I'm like, "You're voting," because he's one of the youngins that think that it really doesn't matter. Because the state's already blue. You don't know that. If enough people think that, then it won't be that way for long. So by the ear we go. And we voted early because of the wonderful fact that you can vote early in person here in the county that I'm in. And I'm so grateful that that's available, because there's no way I could fit that in on the actual voting day. And he did concern me when he was like, "So it's November 6th, right?" I'm like, "Oh my God, take him by the ear and try him right on down." The idea being, our voices, important. And just taking what it is that we say we believe in. What do you say your values are? Now look at your actions. Pay attention to what you're doing. And if your actions reinforce what you say your values are, yay. If they don't, then now we know the work that we have to do. And it takes all of us as a group of people, human beings, to step forward and use our voice. Make this world a better place, even if it feels like, "Oh, I can't do much. I'm just little old me." And I'll leave you with an actual other story that Jane Goodall in the Book of Hope wrote. And there's some names I'm not going to pronounce well because they're Chinese names. But there's two people, Jia and both of their names were Jia, but one was Haxa and one was Wenki. Two different ones. I'm sure I'm screwing up their names. I'm sorry, guys. They live in a small village in rural China. They've been friends from when they were boys. Haxa was he was blind in one eye at birth, and then, get this, lost the sight of the other eye in a factory accident. His friend Wang Qi was only 3 when he lost both his arms by touching a downed power line. So when Haxia lost his sight, he became depressed. And when his friend Wenki realized he must find something they could both do that would give purpose to his blind friend's life. Now, both talked about how the land around their village had become increasingly degraded since they were young. They had some quarrying issues and they polluted the rivers. There was a lot of digging up of the trees and pollution of the rivers, aquatic life down, and industrial emissions polluted the air. Pretty much sounds terrible, right? Now, I'm just going to pause and say, they had every right to just feel hopeless. I mean, one of these little boys is blind. The other one has no arms. They're probably like, "What can we do?" Well, listen on. Wenki told his friend that they should plant trees. Haxia was incredulous at first. How are they supposed to plant trees? They didn't have any money. And he was blind, and Wenki had no arms. How dare you suggest this? I can imagine friends right now saying, "Girl, how you gonna do that? You don't have no arms. How you gonna plant a tree?" However, let's read on. Wenki had the answer. He would be Haxia's eyes, and Haxia would be Wenki's arms. Hello? This is amazing. They couldn't afford to buy seeds, no, or saplings even. So they cloned trees from branches cut from the trees, and they planted hundreds of trees that first year. But the land was too dry, and only 2 trees grew from their efforts. Okay, pause. 100 trees down, 2 trees. That's a 2% success rate. They already had, an excuse if you're following along. I have no arms, you have no eyes. We planted 100 trees and 2% took. Could they have given up? Yes. Let's read on. They would have to find a way to get water to the trees. They found a way. This doesn't tell me how they did it, but I'm sure it was just as creative. They planted more cutlings, and this time, because they had water, most of the trees survived. They have now planted over 10,000 trees. And here's Wenky's quote: "Though we are limited physically, our spirit is limitless. So let generations after us see what a blind man and an armless man have left them, a forest." Oh. So I would love for us to take this whole idea of who are we? What can little old me do? A lot. We can change the world. Let's take that into prayer, and let me check to see if there's any requests. Just going within to this space where we know that we are all one and we are all divinely connected to the infinite creative power that still lives and moves and has its being in all of creation. This limitless, infinite power is in each of every one of us. And it is also true that in this moment, there are no barriers to what we can do. There are just opportunities for teamwork. And we can work together with each other to bring about a world that works for everyone. We use our collective voices at the election, at the polling places. We use it every day. In every action that we take, we ensure that it is aligned with our highest purposes, our highest values, not allowing ourselves to take shortcuts if it means that our values are compromised. And we want this from ourselves, and we want this from our leaders, and we get to choose today who that will be. And so I speak my word that even in the midst of wars and rumors of wars and upsets and many, many natural disastrous events, that right there, right now, is the same energy, infinite, limitless power to create the world that works for everyone. And so I speak my word that everyone within the sound of my voice just awakens to their highest and their best, and they put forth with concerted effort the plan to only support what they do want and not spend time fighting anything. I speak my word into this law, knowing that it is already unfolding in each and every one of our lives, and I let it be, and so it is. Ashe.
I am just going to say there is so much in there that I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. I said it during the last election. I say it every single day. If you don't like it, don't be talking about it. Don't spend most of your energy on it. So I'm just echoing what you have shared, Reverend Shar. And likewise about your story about Maya. This story was inspired by our Layla, who during the last election cycle was not even remotely interested, and in this election cycle helped me get my mind pointed in the direction that I wanted it to go. So I say this song is inspired by her and by my preferred candidate. I can say that because I'm not an employee of the of the center. So, well, I am, but I think I'm allowed anyway. I'm just gonna sing it. And I want to invite you, if you like, to sing with me. We are not going back.
We are not going back.
We are not going back. We are not going back. I hear you, Renee. We are not going back. Somebody told me you got your eyes in the back, always looking behind. Always looking behind. From what you showed me, when you talk about that, you only got you in mind. You only got you in mind.
Well, there's a whole lot of faces have never been seen, voices I've never heard before. This is a land of courage, a home of dreams. We know that's what's called for, and we got places to go. We got stories to tell, how we have walked through the fire and been through horror and hell. But we're not walking alone. We face the future as one. Our superpower is love. That's how we're getting things done, and we're not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. We want to wake up. We want to grow and become and not get stuck in the past. Stuck in our granddad's mug. We're gonna shake off the lie that we can't do better. We are coming up fast, and we are not afraid to laugh. Oh, it's a whole lot of power and a whole lot of change that can be kind of frightening. Believe me, this is our hour and this is our day. Ignite a spark like lightning. We got a country to save. We got history to make. This ain't no time to behave when there's a ceiling to break. And we're not walking alone. We face the future as one. Our superpower is love. That's why we're getting this done, and we're not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. The future is ours. The future is all of ours. The future is ours. The future is all of ours. Onward, onward, one word forward, one word onward, one word forward.
Yay. Oh, fantastic. That was so good. That was so good. So awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Leah. That was wonderful. We are not going back.
What? That was great. Okay, here.
So now is the time, I think, to bless the donations that are shared with us. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation, so we are a tithing community. The donation shared with our center blesses everyone, those who give and those who receive. Your donation helps our center, our CSL home organization, as well as other organizations that support our vision of helping to create a world that works for everyone. That was very on point with our service today, a world that works for everyone. So we're always looking for suggestions of organizations that we should consider. Go to our website and click Give. Please look at our screen. There are many ways to give. It's easy to find a way that works best for you. You may also go to the website, cslleesburg.org, and click the donate button. We thank you for your support. No matter how you are giving, take that gift, physically or mentally, place it over your heart, and join us in our affirmation of oneness. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the lives of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. Ashe. And now it's time for announcements. So we know that every alternating Saturday, we have our dream study, channeling Tamara. It's with our Reverend Shar and friends. And we do the dream study. And the next meeting is going to be this coming Saturday, November 2nd at 10 a.m. I believe that is all the announcements that we have. I did hear that we will be having some workshops coming, so look out for those. I'm excited myself, that's why I'm bringing it up. I don't know when it's going to start, but I know it's going to be awesome, and it's going to really help us to take our spirituality forward. All right, as we end this sacred time together, let us once again place our hands over our heart and say, and if you'd like to unmute, you may. Together we will say, I am love.
I
I
am in love.
am love.
Now point at someone near you or to our members and guests on the screen and say, you are love.
You
You are love.
are love.
Thank you. Now put your hands in the air for some love sprinkles and say, it's
It's all
all
It's
love.
all love.
Fantastic. If you can stay for a few more minutes, please feel free to join us as we share our pearls, those little nuggets of our service that spoke to our hearts and minds. If you're a visitor, please stay and introduce yourself. We'd love the opportunity to officially greet you. If you have to leave us, we know that you will have a day filled with love, joy, and blessings. Thanks for joining us today.
Yay. So good. So good.